Welcome to The World Awaits.
Travel tales to inspire your wanderlust.
I'm Kirstie Bedford, journalist, editor and travel writer.
And I'm Belinda Jackson, author, travel journalist and columnist, and we're your weekly co-hosts. Welcome back to The World Awaits. How are you all? This week is sponsored by Explore Worldwide, which offers small group adventures with local tour leaders. And this week, we're taking you to lovely Peru. But before we do that, how was your week, Kirstie?
Hi, everyone, and happy Valentine's Day for those who believe in all that, which is tomorrow, if you're listening to this at the correct time. And if you do believe in Valentine's Day, we have some last-minute presents for the travel lover in your life. So stay tuned for that tip, which is at the end of this episode. And did you know that the origin of Valentine's Day is thought to come from the Roman festival of Lupercalia, which has been described as a raucous, wine-fueled fertility ceremony?
I didn't know, but I had a little Google, and can I just say that it traditionally ended in a bloody mass animal sacrifice. But look, give me the wine. I'll pass on the fertility and maybe the sacrifices as well. It's a little more sedate now. But before we get into how you can ensure you're staying on the right side of the love of your life with a little gift, we are going to whisk you away to the sun-fueled Sunshine Coast, which goes from great to even better each year. And because we know there are so many Southerners listening who are always looking for a bit of warmth in the winter months, we thought we might share some of the new stays and experiences in this gorgeous Queensland hotspot.
Yeah, good one for those Sydney-siders and Melbourneites. But yes, let's not write off summer just yet. My God, we've had scorcher here in Melbourne 3 days at 38 degrees and the other week, and the rest of the country's been much the same, actually. But you're right, it'll be struggling to hit 15 before we know it, even though as much as I hate to think about that. So what are these amazing new things happening up in the jewel of Queensland's crown, I hear you say? First up, they have some pretty fab food and wine events. So last year I went to an event called Curated Plate, which you've probably heard about because it's quite a popular sort of event for travellers up in the sunny coast. And it's held in late July this year. And there are about 90 events running over 10 days, all championing local producers. So things like we went to a Mad Hatter's tea party where you sit on long tables under the lychee trees at a family-owned Janala Farms in the Glasshouse Mountains drinking cocktails. It's just incredible experience. And I also had a gin tasting at a century-old sugarcane farm where Luke and Kylie Farrelly have launched Canefields Distillery, and that's as a way to continue the family legacy. So those are just an example of some of those. They're all pretty much family-run artisan producers who are running these incredible events, like I said, over 10 days.
And don't miss the Noosa Eat and Drink Festival. That starts at the end of May. It's 4 days and promises local and international chef presentations. So I think Curated Plate is much more local, and then Noosa expands its horizons for the Eat and Drink Festival. They haven't been announced yet, but there's also long lunches, sundowner beach events. But if you're not a serious foodie, there's also, coming up this year, the Festival of Surfing and an ultra trail in March. And a little bit excited about this one is the Noosa Jazz Festival at the end of August, when it's like at the end of winter and you're just thinking, oh my goodness, please give me some sunshine. Of course, everybody jumps on a plane and goes up to Noosa to expose their pallid limbs to Queenslanders who all put their sunglasses on going, oh my goodness, how wet is that person?
And who never have a real winter. Like those bone-chilling winters we get in Melbourne where the wind's so cold you feel it literally in your bones. And if you're more into catching wildlife than into cuisine or jazz, book a stay at Australia Zoo's Crocodile Hunter Lodge. This is the new lodge that they've built, a little luxe getaway. And they've got these also new crocodile cabins, and they overlook freshwater crocs, obviously, hence the name, and also turtles, and they are 2-bedroom cabins, so really good for families, and there's also a private plunge pool too.
I hope you're not sharing the plunge pool with any wildlife. Interesting. But do love a croc sighting, nothing more Australian than that. And for those into adventures, Epic Ocean Adventures has its first of kind. This is really interesting. It's a whale encounter during the whale migration in Noosa. So you can spot and encounter whales on ocean kayaks. I don't believe you're actually swimming on this one, which is amazing. But to be there and be so close to the water. It would be just an incredible experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And done really in a way that you're not, that obviously they're mindful of ensuring that you're not too close to the whales. And I am going up there this year, and it's definitely going to be one I'm putting on my to-do list because, gosh, it just sounds really remarkable. And another epic adventure, and the best way, because I think the best way to get a true perspective of a place actually is height. Because obviously, that's why if you go to a scenic lookout or you do, I love helicopters and small planes and that sort of thing, because you just get such a great perspective of a region and a sense of place. And so Ocean View helicopters are doing that up there now too. So they take you on a scenic flight over the Glasshouse Mountains, but they're doing something a little special. So they're landing on a private peak for a picnic with food from local producers. How awesome is that? You get a chopper and you just land and then have a picnic with locally produced cheese and wine on the top of a little peak.
Ah, sensational. I love it. And another true blue Aussie adventure is getting off the beaten track with four-wheel drives. With a company called Sunny Jeeps, you go into the Mapleton National Park, and which is famous for its waterfalls. And the places that you go with those guys are only accessible to four-wheel drives. So that's pretty special, especially if you're jumping in a hired four-wheel drive and you don't necessarily trust yourself to go down some of the trails, some of the tracks there. There's some gorgeous hinterland stays too, like Thurleston Farm in the Noosa hinterland, which is a renovated cottage that sleeps 8 on a working farm on 11 hectares. And Seven Peaks, didn't you stay there?
I did stay at Seven Peaks, and yeah, that's really gorgeous. You have these little standalone cottages. They're more like little modern villas, really, and they're all separate from each other, obviously. And you have floor-to-ceiling windows where you wake up to the cows mooing outside, and the Glasshouse Mountains are looming in the distance. It's really beautiful. It's best suited to couples, I reckon, because it's just the way of the layout. It's so gorgeous. It's just all open planned, little lounge area, little kitchenette. And yeah, and so a great little nature escape for couples. We will put all the links to the things we've mentioned in the show note.
My guest this week is Sol Campos of the Peru Tourism Board. Sol loves a good hike, and she comes from a country that does some of the best hikes in the world. So we are talking about the classic Inca Trail hike up to Machu Picchu, and also Sol shares some of the other regions in Peru that have got excellent hiking, but without the permits and the crowds that you might expect in one of the world's biggest tourism destinations. Take a listen. Sol, welcome to The World Awaits. It's so great to have you on the show.
Samuel, it's great to be here.
Let's just start a little about you. Where are you from and how you've ended up in Sydney?
I come from Lima, and I've been in Australia since May. I moved here for my role with From Peru. We are a Peruvian government agency. We focus in promoting Peru in tourism, trade, and investment. Let me tell you a little bit about Lima. Lima is the only capital in South America with a view of the sea. And in Lima, in Lima I can invite everybody surfing, sail, paraglide, and also it's a paradise for foodies. You can't miss a ceviche and pisco cocktails there.
Ah, absolutely. And Peru is once again soaring up the charts as one of the world's top tourism destinations because of its fabulous food, ceviche and pisco sours, but also for its hiking. And one of the most famous trails is, of course, the Inca Trail, because it ends up at Machu Picchu, the lost city of the Incas. You've done a bit of the trail, I believe, but it's not just one single walk, is it? There's many variations.
Yes, we have multiple options. And options are really important for who loves adventures at the outdoors. By the way, I should mention last year, Machu Picchu was named the world's leading tourist attraction by the World Trade Awards. This is the Oscar for travel. I can mention some of the more classic trek that we offer in Peru. One of them is the classic, that is 4 days. This is moderate to challenge, I could say. Maybe everybody's interested about the distance. The distance is 43 kilometers.
That doesn't seem very long, is it? Or it takes 43 kilometers, 4 days to walk 43 kilometers. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. This kind of trek is a more classic because it's, as I mentioned before, moderate. That takes you to the beautiful cloud forest, past incredible archaeological sites, ending with this spectacular sunrise at Machu Picchu.
Amazing.
I have to mention the other one that is the short version that I had. This is very, really, I could say for beginners, is approximately 12 kilometers. Also, let you this experience about Machu Picchu, and also you arrive to the sun guide of Machu Picchu in the mornings, mist clears to reveal these majestic ruins.
Beautiful. Oh, that sounds so great.
For experience, you must be interested.
Can I just add a quota here? When I went to Machu Picchu, I caught the train up there, so I haven't actually hiked up through it. But the trail is so popular that you now need a permit to hike it. How that's right, isn't it? How far in advance do you suggest walkers book for that, given that this is the Lost City is the world's most popular tourism destination, which is astonishing.
Oh, yes, you need to book more or less 6-8 months in advance. Booking early, secure your spot, really, with a reputable tourist guide, travel agencies. Give you plenty of time to plan flights, accommodation, train for this incredible adventure.
So have you done one section of it? What part of the trail have you hiked?
Oh, I have the short version. The short version is like more or less 30 kilometers. And this is a slightly version of the classic trek, but enjoy the iconic views and visit the Inca ruins and still arrive at Machu Picchu in the early morning. So this is very one of the beautiful for beginners. Inca trails. I recommend the difficult one, the challenge one, that these adventures that love outdoors trekking would like and expect it. This is the 70 kilometers. And really, it combines this stunning scenario, but the altitude as well.
I understand there's so many incredible experiences there, but there's still some new experiences leading up to Machu Picchu. And one of those, we had a little chat about it beforehand, I'm absolutely fascinated about. The one I'm going to ask you, tell us about the new women's only hike.
Oh, this is a really new services that we offer. This beginning in Cusco with a tour of the Secret Valley, and it's only for women. It's 7-day adventure, so it's a little bit challenge. Then staying in unique accommodation like glass cabanas and a hobbit house while trekking to Machu Picchu. I really consider this is one of my favorite because empower women, of course, and also be accompanied by these local women who serve you as a guide, as a porters, chef as well. Provide this unique opportunity to learn about the life, the real life that they share, cultural experience, traditions, the colors of the dresses, the meaning of these families, and this beautiful smiling. I just have in this moment talking to you about these memories, about this beautiful smiling.
It sounds amazing. How new is it? Is it just a recent addition to Peru's many hiking attractions?
Yes, it was launched last year.
Oh, incredible. But the Inca Trail is so popular. If I wanted to skip the permits and the crowds, where else do you suggest I hike in Peru? It doesn't have to be a long multi-day hike. It could just be a great day walk or even a 2-hour beauty. What would you suggest?
I can start with Ancash and after move to the Amazon. What are incredible places, really. Ancash is because it's just an hour flight from Lima. It's more than a hike. It's a chance to explore the stunning Peruvian Andes. So the Andes is really and totally different. So it's really, the Andes will be very appreciated by the Australians because you can have here the Andes. So the Andes, you can see these snow-capped peaks of Huascarán, that is the highest mountain in South America. It's a popular destination for serious mountaineers. And also you can discover these clear turquoise and villages, turquoise lakes, and this kind of ancient village with tradition that is still alive. I would recommend there Laguna Wilcacocha, and for acclimatizing, I recommend the Lake 69 or Lagoon 69 that you can find this. And after, I will fly to the jungle because in the jungle, you can have these protected natural areas. So you can go to Tambopata National Reserve, and also you can go to Manu. And the Tambopata This journey continues to Enchanted by the National Reserve. Here, the adventure reaches new heights as you can trek across hanging bridges, suspending above the forest floor, offering a unique perspective of the jungle. These trails are lush, and also you can be around this kind of rare wildlife, including young rivers, others, and colorful macaws. Yeah, this is their natural habitat for them.
Oh, that sounds amazing seeing them in the wild. So jaguars, macaws, hiking in the jungle. It just sounds fantastic. And there's are they multi-day trails, or can you go in there for a one-day hike?
You can day 1 day hike. You can go also for 3 days tours that we can offer. We can offer 5 days tours, 7 day tours. And also you can go to the Manu. That is a perfect destination for those who are seeking a deep connection with the Amazon unique ecosystem. And I mentioned this because you can discover this incredible biodiversity. Many species of birds, more than 3,000 species of birds, for example, you're still in the rainforest.
Oh, fantastic. So great one for twitchers. We've been talking a lot about I'm going to take you back to the mountains. We've been talking about hiking in the Andes and the elevation as well. On the Inca Trail, the elevation ranges from 2,000 to over 4,000 meters. So I wanted to ask you about dealing with altitude sickness, because I imagine even though you're Peruvian, you may well have experienced, because you're from Lima, which is on the sea, and we're talking about these incredible altitudes. I know that every time is different, and I do know that I'm very slow to acclimatize as well. That's why when I caught the train up to Machu Picchu, I wasn't hiking. But how do you adjust? Have you got any tips to share with us?
Absolutely. And especially because I am from Lima, so the altitude it's something that it really have affect. Yeah, first of all, it's very important to acclimatize properly. My recommendation is this is a really good tip. Is spend few days in the Sacred Valley that is in Urubamba. This before starting your trek. Stay hydrated and consider talking to a doctor about some medication. And another local tips is drink some coca leaf, that is a tea, natural tea, and don't talk too much.
That's why I never acclimatized, because I will not stop talking. Here we go. I've learned it too late in life, this one. Thanks for that, Sol. The real reason why I've never been good at acclimatizing. That is a good one. And that mate, the tea that you're talking about with the coca leaf, that is something that when you walk into hotels, they'll offer it to you straight away, won't you, when you come into Cusco? Because I like the fact that even though you're from Peru, you still suffer from altitude sickness, or you have to acclimatize as well, because sometimes you think everybody in the country is fine with those incredibly high altitudes, but clearly not. I think thanks for that. So eating light, trying the mate, and taking time to adjust to the higher altitudes. What are the best months to go hiking or walking in Peru? And are there any months that you should avoid?
I recommend the months to go, that is from May to September, because it's the dry season. All the treks are clear, the weather is spectacular. You could have more time to appreciate all the nature.
Is there a peak time that you find, like when it just gets super busy? Because I'm always trying to look for the shoulder periods so that I'm just out of that hyper busy tourism time.
Yeah, the point is this is really a big time is July and August. That is round the world combined with holidays as well. Yeah. But the best all there is from May to September. This is the right. Yeah, this is a great time. It's perfect.
Okay. All right. Booking my flights. And the final question, which we ask all our guests, is what is your most bizarre travel experience? And you get extra gold stars if it's in Peru, but it doesn't have to be.
I will have my extra stars.
Go on, hit me.
Because it was in Peru. It was in Pasto Ruri Glacial, that is in Ancash, as well in Huaraz. This is located in the southern part of the Cordillera Blanca, or Cordillera Blanca, if you want to call this or Google it. So Pasto Ruri Glacial is a day trip from Huaraz. It's more or less more than 5,000 height. I didn't know about the effects of altitude when I went hiking to Pastoruri Glacier. Could you imagine? I was not trained. I was beginner. I was totally untrained. I was a beginner at that time. I remember I didn't know how to breathe properly at the altitude. And the altitude sickness literally took my breath away.
Wow.
I still remember my head, my chest were going to explode. And Sandra, really, everything changed when I have this burst of happiness when I saw this beautiful view, the Cordillera Blanca, the Peruvians we call. And also this famous tower in Puya Raimonde, very well known as the Queen of the Andes. So I want to see everything, this view, the lake of Patococha, the Cordillera Blanca, all the city, because you are in one of the peaks, is a really advanced for everybody that is doing trekking. So that was the unforgettable experience. And I could say for somebody like a beginner like I was at that time, oh, it was difficult, but everything changed when I have this beautiful view, the lakes, the whites of the peaks of the mountains, the people. Oh, everything was incredible.
Oh, yes. You're going to make yourself homesick.
Yeah, so you still feeling, no, these memories is because could you imagine somebody untrained, somebody that didn't know how to breathe? So you can make it.
I think that was probably me when I first started hiking way back as well. You just think, oh, I'll just push through it. But I love the fact that you've already lost your breath from altitude sickness and then you lose it again from this literally breathtaking scenery. And that is the beauty of Peru, isn't it? It's just so spectacular. I think you're so lucky to come from such a beautiful country. And we're lucky to have you on the podcast as well, telling us about it. So thank you for joining us on The World Awaits. We're going to put in the show notes some of those details about hiking the Inca Trail, about Ancash as well, and going into the Amazon too. So we'll pop those and some of your most breathtaking suggestions in there, as well as the new women's only hike, which sounds just fantastic. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you in Lima.
See you in Lima. All welcome. Machu Picchu and the jungle and the Amazon. Yeah, all welcome. All Australians are welcome. You are going to love it.
That was Belle talking to Sol Campos of the Peru Tourism Board. Visit peru.travel to find out more. And take a listen back to episode 65 of our podcast for a deep dive into the Peruvian food with Australian-based chef Alejandro Sarivia. And if you're enjoying this episode, you can experience Peru for yourself on Explore's Inca Trail treks and in-depth adventures with a local tour leader who will get you off the beaten track to discover Peru. Head to exploreworldwide.com.au to find out more.
Valentine's Day is almost upon us. For those who are listening when this episode drops, we've got some great travel suggestions for lovers. And to those listening on playback, hello and thanks for tuning in. Here are some great gift ideas for another year or even just later in this year. But because, of course, romance does not need a date in the diary.
No, it doesn't. Maybe we should tell our husbands that. So what do you give to the lover in your life who loves to travel? An obvious one would be a staycay. So a voucher for a little overnight stay somewhere in your state. We mentioned some great hinterland escapes earlier on the show on the Sunshine Coast. But here are some of our top picks in other cities too. Mine would be in Melbourne, try the Royce in St Kilda. I've stayed here. My God, it's just stunning. It actually was the former car showroom of Rolls-Royce. And literally, if that Rolls-Royce just rolled into the lobby, it would be absolutely fitting because it's that spectacular. And it's paid homage to its former life everywhere because it's got things like these large circular columns of silver panelled chrome, and it has the most beautiful restaurant where you can sit in plush velvet booths and watch the trams go past, which is pretty iconic. So if you've got someone who isn't from Melbourne or is staying in Melbourne, it's just a great place, and the rooms are absolutely gorgeous as well.
And in Sydney, I would go 7 miles from the city and 1,000 miles from Care to the Manly Pacific, which was recently named amongst the 16 most beautiful hotels in the world in the Prix Versailles. It is right opposite Manly Beach, and it has a great rooftop pool as well, and a fabulous infrared sauna if you're trying to maintain your youthfulness. I stayed last year, sat in the sauna, and I stayed just after it had completed a $30 million renovation, and it is white and light and fabulous with a really bright, fun vibe. And the ferry crossing from Circular Quay to Manly is just the icing on the cake. But I have to put a special mention in for my dream stay for 2025, and that is Osborne House in the New South Wales Southern Highlands. Oh my heart. It recently added 5 new rooms, taking it to just 27 in total. So it's a real boutique hotel. The forest lodges have these incredible outdoor timber hot tubs beneath the stars and absolutely impeccable interior design.
Gorgeous. Sounds absolutely beautiful. And because this is the tip section, here is our tip. So don't actually book to stay on Valentine's Day, because chances are, I mean, it's probably too late now anyway, but chances are it will already be booked up. And if it's not, then you're also paying premium prices. Many people also sell packages only, so you've got to eat on site, and some of the facilities and like spa treatments and that sort of thing will be sold out. So if you don't have to do it on February the 14th, just book it for another day or give them a card with a hint as to where you've booked.
Valentine's Day doesn't have to be a big dollar spend either, such as proposing in a hot air balloon over Victoria's Yarra Valley. I've got to say, I was talking to the tour operators who told me recently that they are flat out on Valentine's Day with proposals everywhere. And unless you are hiring your own balloon, you're sharing with a group of strangers and somebody's proposing right beside you.
I know. And I have a story about this. I just watched something recently, and this bloke was proposing in a hot air balloon to his partner, and she just put up her hand and kept saying, "Stop." How awful is that? Look, that would just be shocking.
And she was going to turn him down.
Yes, she was turning him down, and it was just, I just thought, I felt so sorry for him. It's such an effort to do it, and it is. I've done hot air ballooning in many places across New Zealand, and also over Alice Springs, and gosh, it's the most beautiful thing, serene experience. And like you said, because you're in such close proximity, everyone's around listening. So this poor fella, yes, you want to make sure that as much as you can that they're going to say yes before you do that.
Oh, it sounds like something that a maths producer would think up really. Oh my God. Oh. So yeah, it doesn't have to be a big dollar spend, and it doesn't have to be rows of couples squished awkwardly into noisy restaurants either. Why not just grab a basket, some great cheeses, a fancy bread, a few linen napkins and a bottle of pop, and head out to a beautiful park or a beach for a picnic?
If you'd like to help support our production costs, you can buy us a coffee at coffee.com/theworldawaits. That's ko-fi.com/theworldawaits, so we can continue to bring you inspirational travel interviews with the world's best.
Next week, we're getting the band back together. I'm teaming up with our sound producer, Alistair Leeds, so we can geek out on all of the great travel tech gear for 2025. Alistair always has his eye on the trends and new tech coming out of the US, while I'm always hunting for the perfect headphone, storage options. Oh, please, somebody give me a decent storage option, Alistair. And I do love a clever bag. And please give us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Click on our profile, scroll down to the bottom to ratings and review. And if you're on Spotify, go to our main page and click the 3 dots underneath our photo, or simply drop us a line at hello@theworldawaits.au. We love nothing more than hearing from our listeners. And happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
That's a wrap for The World Awaits this week. Click to subscribe anywhere you listen to your favourite pods. And where can people find you, Kirstie?
I'm at Kirstie Writes on Instagram. That's KIRSTIE Writes, WRITES. And where can people find you, Belle?
You can find me at globalsalsa.com or on Insta at global_salsa.
Thanks for listening. See you next week.